Awesome, thank you.
especially
In 2011 is when I stepped down from Twitter. It's a euphemism. And immediately my mind did go to this new, what I saw as an opportunity for a new platform and taking web publishing to really bringing it to the modern age. Because what I observed when I went back to start kind of blogging again and looking at the state of things beyond social media was that it was kind of frozen in time in the early 2000s, and it seemed like the idea of what web publishing consisted of had not evolved significantly in the decade or so since then, or at least the 8 years from when we started Twitter. And there were all these ideas that we had back in the early days that just seemed like were possible from the technical perspective. And of course, with the importance of mobile, a lot of the systems that we had been using for the last decade or so hadn't fully made the leap. And so there was, one perspective was just, how do we bring these systems into the modern era, and from a design and technology perspective. But the other thought was how, looking at the entire ecosystem around how information and ideas get published, what gets paid attention to, how people collaborate, that the entire system seemed like it wasn't necessarily heading in the right direction. And so that was immediately obvious and highly related to the work we had been doing at Twitter, but a different slice of it. And so I started mapping out in my head what that would look like. And the comment that I felt stuck in a rut was why I paused on that. I just thought this was right after Twitter, and thought, I don't know if I want to dive into this again right now. Maybe I need a break from that sort of stuff, and maybe there's other things that are more interesting to think about. But about 9 months later, I was still obsessing over this idea. It was clearer and clearer that there was an opportunity to build something not only big, but important in this space. And it was also clear that we were going to see that there was a limited window in time. And it was an important window because what was going to start happening, I thought, and what we're continuing to see happen at a rapid pace today, is there's going to be this massive shift of content and attention that content drives from websites to content platforms. And that seemed inevitable to me because it followed the path that the internet has followed since pretty much day one, which is that centralized marketplaces of producers and consumers dominate the internet. And in almost every category, one or two of them take the lion's share of activity. And that had not yet happened. It happened in social media, in video,
right,
and marketplaces of all types, but it hadn't yet happened in general purpose publishing. And it wasn't because of mobile per se, but mobile would accelerate that because of the way app ecosystems worked and the user experience around them. And so what I saw happening is whether, for everybody publishing on the web, whether they're an individual blogger doing it for art or self-expression or to gain recognition or change minds, all the way up to commercial publishers who were doing it as a living, it was going to make less and less sense to publish on an island on the web and manage software to do that versus publishing into a network that had the properties of social media networks that had built-in distribution and feedback. And so
just to be clear, so the big difference between, say, Blogger and Medium is that it is a publishing platform, but you're giving people a way to find an audience.
Exactly. It's connecting both sides of the marketplace, whereas Blogger was really ended up just being a tool, and we completely missed this. We played with the idea, but we never built a network with Blogger. And I think today we just all understand how the internet works so much better that we wouldn't have built that type of system. It's like Instagram versus Hipstamatic, and Blogger was the Hipstamatic in that case.